So before I ended this video, I thought I'm going to create another video on troubleshooting. And this week on Inside the Mind of a Hacker, we're going to talk about my number one tip on troubleshooting. Now, troubleshooting is one of those tools or one of those approaches where I think everyone needs to get right from the beginning. Troubleshooting is just so important in the world of of being a security engineer, is because we need to think of things on our feet sometimes. You could have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, many millions of dollars of of sales happening, and then you've got the boss breathing down your neck to fix a particular problem. And at times it can be very, very stressful for people because there's a lot of pressure. So my number one rule or number one tip on troubleshooting is basically break down the problem. And what I mean by that is, if we're doing some sort of network troubleshooting, and I just had an Adobe update come up on my screen, so I'm just going to move that down so I can draw. So what I mean by breaking it down, let's just say we've got a particular network here. Oh, that's a weird looking network. So let's just say we have a couple of networks over here. I'm just going to draw this out so we can all work through this together. We've got a couple of networks here. Let's just say this network's running particularly OSPF in here. And let's just say over here we're running AIGRP. And let's just say down here we're running BGP. And we have a customer, and draw a gold customer that's sitting way over here in this little network. And he rings up, and we've got, let's just say the internet's over here somewhere. That's your internet. Guys, I'm just going through this on the fly. I don't know what I'm drawing, but I'm just thinking of this as we go. So let's say we have a customer here, and he rings up and he says to me, we can't access the network. None of the controls are working. I can't access any of the the internet's down, the firewall's down, blah, 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 what's going on? And it's your job now to basically troubleshoot. So what I would say by breaking it down is simple, right? Let's just start with the problem. The biggest problem is it's sometimes not so simple. We have all these protocols in place. We've got BGP, we've got all these routes, we've got switching everywhere. Where do we start? Could it be a problem in this OSPF network? Could it be a problem in this EIGRP network? Is the BGP being a problem? Is this link a problem? Are the switches in here having a problem? And, for most times, breaking it down is the biggest challenge. I mean, where do we begin? So what I would do in this case is simple. I would obviously verify that one-to-one connection between these two links is fine. If I can get over to this provider and then this provider can get over to here, then that's not a problem. So we want to identify, I guess, what the problem is and where the problem lies. So let's just first verify our one-to-one connection. Can we get a connection over to this connection? And if so, is it working as it is intended, or is it not? Can we obviously ping? Does layer 1, 2, and 3 of that OSI model work? And that should be cool. If it works, that's great. We can get obviously normal. Is ping working? Yeah, great. But if browsing is a problem, maybe it's a DNS problem. So maybe there's a server problem somewhere in here or wherever our traffic is going. So the first number one tool is starting with a one-to-one basis, understanding things at a one-to-one level. Can the user, for whatever reason, get outside that base? If so, great. If you can't, awesome. Let's keep troubleshooting and then start working on these two links from here to here. And then can these two links work? Do these two links work in here? And this is getting really messy, geez. But you understand, you really understand the picture. Is starting on a one-to-one basis and identifying, does our one-to-one connection work? If so, great. If it doesn't, even better. Let's break it down even more now and find out what the problem lies. Is it a problem between the person and the keyboard, or is it a problem between the keyboard and obviously the outside world? So that's my biggest tip on troubleshooting. I'd love to hear your biggest tip on troubleshooting. What's gotten you through a biggest problem? I remember one time for me, we're working with a couple of big production networks over here. We had about 6 or 7 different campuses, each with maybe 10 different levels of devices. And the biggest problem was someone plugged in a switch into another campus over here, which was further out than what we thought it was. And essentially had a spanning tree topology reconfiguration. So the whole spanning tree all the spanning trees started pointing to that guy as the root bridge, which meant the whole campuses went offline. Because this guy over here had a better root priority than every other switch on the network. Because those switches were sending in BPDUs into the network, basically everything was reconfigured to point to that guy because he was the King Kong of the network, which wasn't a good thing. So that problem was a spanning tree problem, and obviously taking a whole network offline or whole networks offline isn't a good thing. So we maybe have to start at the layer 2 sometimes. We might have to start at the routing layer. Sometimes it could be an application issue. What I would say is obviously starting with the problem on a one-to-one basis. So identifying the problem locally first. Is it working? Is it not working? And then moving forward from there. Guys, you have been rock stars as always. Keep the questions coming, and I'll do my very best to keep answering. I'd love to hear maybe your number one troubleshooting tip as well. What's the biggest problem that you've encountered recently? And I'd love to know more about it. Get back to me and challenge me on any other questions that you have. I love it. Guys, enjoy it. We'll catch you guys next week on the other episode of Inside the Mind of a Hacker. We'll see you soon.